Hi friends, I'm Les Mood, your host. Welcome to the Destination for Innovation series brought to you by the City of Bakersfield and Green Tech Network. Today we're in beautiful Bakersfield downtown and we have a special guest, Ollie Morse. Welcome to the show.
Hey there.
Ollie, could you share a little bit about yourself and maybe something that the world or the community doesn't know about you?
Well, I'm asked quite often, was I born in Bakersfield? I am actually born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Not a fan of the snow and the cold weather, so started trying to move my way west for quite some time. Lived in Ohio and Tennessee and Texas for a while. Ended up here. I've been here a little over 20 years. Really enjoying it. Nice weather, nice atmosphere.
Yeah, we were talking about the cold versus warmth earlier and more tennis days, and couldn't agree with you more. So that's one thing that got my wife to move here. In terms of your journey, your career, where would you say you could point back to where maybe that began?
Well, I started off as my background is electrical engineering. So I started out working in industry when, of course, when you're in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, you always spend a little bit of time in the steel mills up there. So I worked in the steel mill for a few years and ended up getting a job after I got out of school and get a job in engineering. So I worked in engineering for a while for Goodyear Tire and Rubber as a maintenance engineer and a project engineer. Moved around the country with them doing a lot of projects. And transitioned from engineering into small business. I started a little business when I was working with them and caught the bug. And I really just fell in love with small business development. And when I retired from Goodyear, I came straight into small business development.
Yeah, that's really amazing. It explains why you've been around the country building things, designing things, and making business happen. What are you doing these days? What does your day-to-day look like?
Well, I have a small business assistance center running downtown. It's under the umbrella of 3C Capital Fund. It is called Kern Inclusive Entrepreneurship Hub. And we are doing some good things. Ever since the COVID, when people left work, a lot of them instead of getting back into work, they started businesses. And one of the things, I'm always busy because of the fact that a lot of people start businesses. I don't care what business you're in, the basics are always the same. So I end up helping nonprofits, for-profits, whether you're selling services or products, no matter what you're doing with business, it starts out the same way as setting the business up and getting it running. So I stay busy because of that, and I enjoy it. I really enjoy it.
Absolutely. Well, you've done a lot of work, been all over the country. Could you share some struggles or triumphs associated with those struggles that maybe others could learn from?
Well, of course, everybody is aware of the strive to try to bring some equity to business. One of the things and I went through the same thing working with businesses and having a hard time trying to get the funding, trying to get the resources and materials. It's getting better, but it's still out there. So my biggest thing right now is learning to negotiate the trails and the pathways through. I feel comfortable now that I've been doing it for so long. I'm learning a lot more about how to get things done. And I don't like to tell people, to go out and do things that I already know how to do. So I try to make sure that I can help them. Starting a business, I can do it in about maybe 2 or 3 days. Somebody else might take a couple of weeks to get it done. So I don't mind helping, but it's just, again, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, well, for aspiring people looking to enter the industry or maybe some entrepreneurs, do you have some advice you'd like to share?
Well, one of the things, especially if a person, they feel they want to be in business, they just don't know what they want to do. My first rule of thumb is, what do you love to do? What would you do for free? If you can start a business with something you would do for free, that's where you want to be at, because starting a business is a lot tougher than people know. And there's going to come a time when you're going to ask yourself, is this really worth the effort? If you're working on your passion, you'll continue. But if you're just doing it for the money, chances are you're going to decide, I can do something else for this money. So make sure that you pick something that you love to do and you enjoy it. And that's what they always say, if you love what you're doing, you don't work a day in your life, and that is true.
Yeah, that's really good advice. A lot of people look at a career, but when it comes to business, you better, when you commit to that, you better be in love with it. That's good advice. So this next part of the interview is more of a thought experiment. We have a lot of things holding us back from, some roadblocks or some things stopping maybe what we like to see happen. But we're going to think about what those possibilities are instead. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first question on that part is, what is some low-hanging fruit that people can bite into to make the world or their community a better place?
Well, Well, when I considered that, one of the things that kind of stuck out to me is I was overwhelmed when I found out how much trash we produce on a daily basis. And watching some of I watch a lot of documentaries and commentaries, and the amount of trash that's in our waters and every place is just ridiculous. Not too long ago, I started recycle. And they have the different barrels that you can put in front of your house. Well, I found that when I separate my trash from recycle, I was producing about maybe a fifth of the trash, and most of the stuff I was throwing out was recycled. So I'll fill out my blue barrel 2 to 3 times before I fill out the trash barrel. I think if everybody got into that, we could probably do a lot less trash in our beautiful parks and in the water, and maybe even benefit from the recycling that we use. So I think that's something that anybody and everybody can do, is to take the time and recycle what needs to be recycled and get in helping the environment.
Yeah, I love that. I love ideas where everybody can bite into them, and that's a great example right there. I'm hoping to see some more composting type, separate even further, get even less trash out of that landfill. So
Learn how to use the trash that you're keeping, and pretty soon you won't even be calling it trash.
it'd be gold. Yeah, exactly. So what are some bigger challenges and opportunities that we should tackle and we should bite into?
Well, Bakersfield as a whole, because I do a lot of small business, the entrepreneurship craze has been picking up. And now they're developing all kind of terms and everything, the ecosystem for entrepreneurs. Bakersfield seems to be leading the way with working together. A lot of organizations, when I first engaged in it, there's probably about 5 or 10 organizations trying to do the same thing. Bakersfield recognized that, and they started an organization, they called it KITE, and they were bringing all the organizations together to see if they can kind of work in unison. And it's impressive because I get involved with a lot of other organizations. I'm collaborating with about 3 or 4 organizations right now with the assistance center I have, and I'm going to a couple of summits, statewide summits, and I recognize that Bakersfield, are being recognized for that effort. So I was pretty proud, pretty impressed with the recognition that we got for that effort. I think that's going to make a difference in how we move forward.
Yeah, and moving forward, what do you think the role of community is?
Well, just understanding the problems. One of the things that I was concerned about when I was kind of getting started was, even with business startup, it's more than just the business aspect of it. We started working with what they call wraparound services, because sometimes having a problem getting the business started don't have anything to do with the business itself. It has something to do with trying to live life and get the business started. So even in this effort that I was telling you about, they are recognizing the need to, in conjunction with developing the businesses, they're recognizing the need to address the other problems, other barriers that's keeping you from starting a business that don't have anything to do with business.
Yeah, absolutely. So the work that you do now and the reason that you do it, what do you wish to see happen as part of your legacy when you're looking back?
Well, we are trying to produce successful businesses. So, and I know it's a numbers game. There's a lot of people out there trying to help. I work with the SBDCs and the Women's Business Center, the consulting for all of them. One of their efforts was to try to touch as many people as they can, which is not a problem. My thing is, I would rather touch less and deal with less businesses if I can make sure they're 100% successful. And so rather than say I work with 100 businesses, I'd be more satisfied if I could say we produce 10 successful businesses.
I have to say, because people always tell me my name is Les, so they say less is more. So I couldn't agree more. Quality over quantity and all of that is a good thing. So in terms of an energy transition, a transformation, an evolution, some like to call it, do you think that a just and equitable transition is possible, and if so, how?
Well, that's an interesting question, because it is not an easy problem to solve. There are careers built on the very thing that we're trying to get rid of. And so, when you talk to some people and you think you're giving them a great idea, and you don't realize you're telling them to get rid of what their family has lived on for years. We've got to solve the problem some kind of way. I think the best way to do is really try to put more effort into developing the replacement businesses and the replacement jobs before we put such an effort in getting rid of the jobs we have. Because nobody, you can create high-tech jobs, but only a fraction of the people that's in the oil industry or the coal industry is going to be able to get those. So we need to look beyond the high tech and figure out how are we going to do, what are we going to do to help the other people that's involved with that. I don't know that there's an easy answer, but I know if we keep trying, we can get there.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great piece of advice. Couldn't agree more on that, and it's the first time someone's mentioned that, so I appreciate that. In terms of Bakersfield, we're here because of Bakersfield. This is, the Destination for Innovation series. So I'm curious, from your perspective, what makes Bakersfield the destination for innovation for those who might want to come here?
Well, it's mostly what people don't know. Like I said before, Bakersfield is really demonstrating its ability to work together and collaborate. And to the point that their outside influences are starting to recognize and starting to put more sources, materials, and money available for businesses. I think Bakersfield is open to flexibility. Again, it's a nice place to live. And I think so when people come into Bakersfield, and one of the things I found out when I moved here, people drive through Bakersfield on their way to LA. That's what it was all about. Now, when my friends started visiting me, they were all surprised how large Bakersfield is and how innovative it is. I think one of the things and I know we're trying to do, you get the word out. This is Bakersfield, this is what we are, and this is what we do. And we offer a very good innovative base if you want to start a business in that area. I think they're trying their best to prove that, and I think when they go out and look on the outside, they realize they're doing a better job than they thought. There is some recognition about the ability for Bakersfield to work with businesses in that matter. So.
Yeah, and there's a phrase going around, if it can't happen in Bakersfield, it can't happen anywhere. If it can happen in Bakersfield, it can't happen anywhere. I think that's very true, and I appreciate everything you're doing. It's wonderful to hear. Thank you for sharing some of the work you're doing. Where's a good place for people to get a hold of you? How should they reach you to get involved?
Well, most of the time I'm at my office downtown on 1527 19th Street, Kern Inclusive Entrepreneurship Hub. That's where I'm at here, 661-374-4019.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. And that's it for the Destination for Innovation. Make sure to connect, collaborate, and create with Ali, and we'll see you next time.